Let's get your teacher lesson planner set up today, shall we? So excited. Welcome to my channel, teacher friends, planner friends. My name is Tanya. I'm known as the Butterfly Teacher. In today's video, we're going to set up and talk about teacher lesson plan spread ideas. So as you can see here, I have the latest Erin Condren 7x9 teacher lesson planner. But a lot of the ideas that I'm sharing with this planner will work if you have the binder or the 8.5x11 size. I did a full review on this planner and I'll link that video in the description below. Love this vegan leather cover, by the way. And quick note, if you don't like the vegan leather cover, like you don't like this design, I found out that you can add some of the other interchangeable covers as long as they're the same size. So I'll show you a real quick example. Okay friends, as you can see, I've customized the outside of my 7x9 teacher lesson planner by adding on one of the interchangeable cover designs. This is the Etta V flower design that came out with the teacher launch. And as long as you have the right size, like whether it's, 8.5x11 or 7x9, then it works. I'm assuming for most people though, they want the teacher lesson planner that is 7x9. They do not want this cover design or any of the other cover designs. And so if that's you, you don't mind vegan leather, but you just don't like these covers, then you can add on the interchangeable covers on top of it. And as you can see, they turn just fine, no issues. So that's a creative way to customize the outside of your 7x9 teacher lesson planner. Let's get into the inside. So right away, when I jump into my planners, they usually start with a contacts page that I never use. I talked about this a little bit in the review video, the different pages that I do not use in my planner. The way I customize those or change them around is with scrapbook paper. So I took a pretty yellow polka dot scrapbook paper. I left the edge open so that you could see that I just glued the scrapbook paper on top. I just cut it down to size. You can use whatever type of scrapbook paper you want. And the way that I'm going to use these pages in my lesson planner, I love printable sticky note templates. I did a full video on why I use these, how they have helped me save so much time as a teacher. But when I need to give students feedback and I need it to be quick, I keep stacks of these printable sticky note templates ready to go so that I can just grab them and hand them out to students when needed. If I need a parent signature on something, or I need to give them just a note of encouragement, then that's what these are for. And I like to keep like stacks of them ready to go in the front or the back of my teaching lesson planner. When I had the 8.5x11, especially when you have the one with the plastic pages, the plastic sleeves, I kept my printable sticky notes stacked in the back of my teacher lesson planner. But this year, the way that I've redesigned my 7x9, I hope I haven't been saying 7.5x9. If I have said 7.5x9, scratch that. This is a 7x9. I'm getting it confused with 8.5x11. But anyway, the 7x9 planner, this is how I'm using the front of it. Scrapbook paper, and then my printable sticky note templates ready to go in the front. I think what I'm gonna do for these two pages is keep like a notes section, but I haven't figured that out yet. I just know that I don't want to use the contacts, so I put scrapbook paper over the titles. I'll come back and figure out how I'm going to use those pages later. I've already started playing around with the monthly spread pages. So this is one way to have your monthly spread page set up. I use the summer stickers from the seasonal surprise box, the summer seasonal surprise box 2021. I love that color blends ombre effect. And this is one way that you can use your stickers on your monthly spread. I also used the dot pen from the new list markers to create a gratitude list on the side. But as you get into other ways to set up your monthly spread, I love using washi tape for things that I know, like if you have car line duty or something, like staff meetings, same day, every week of the month. Then having a block of tape, washi, or something else to signal, okay, every day or this month I have duty or staff meetings or whatever. I used a combination of stickers on this spread, and I'll make sure to link those in the description box. But so far I'm really liking the list markers to signal different things to do, like the asterisk and the hearts and the dot markers. I'm really liking those so far. And as far as what black pens I used, I just did a recent video on the best black pens to use in your planner. So go check that video out so that you can see the different types of black writing utensils that I used. But these are just two examples of ways you could set up your monthly spread in your teacher lesson planner. Now let's talk about some ways to set up the lesson plan spread. I want to pretend that I am an elementary school teacher who teaches all the subjects. I like using black writing utensils. I have a reminder to take attendance because I feel like that's one thing that we teachers always forget. And this 7x9 lesson plan spread is plenty of room in the boxes for me to write like generals. What unit are we on? Are we doing math centers or not? And I decided, honestly, I actually made a mistake. And so I put stickers over my mistake and thought, I need to balance those out. So let me use stickers for writing and science. And that's why I ended up with stickers for those two. I left this column blank to use for centers. And then I have a notes section that I created. So this is just one way to set up your lesson plan spread. Let's pretend that I am an elementary school teacher and I am not compartmentalized. I don't have all the subjects. I only teach, like, let's say 4th grade language arts and social studies, which is actually what I taught for 5 years. For 4 years, let me jump back. For 4 years, I taught 2nd grade. And when I was a 2nd grade teacher, I taught all the subjects. And then I was moved up to 4th grade, where I only taught language arts and social studies. And I had a co-teacher who did math and science. So let's pretend that you're in a situation like this. I liked writing all the details in my lesson planner, which is why this planner spread is so busy. And the way that I organize when I have 2 different sections to teach is to color code. So let's pretend I have my homeroom class and then I share with a co-teacher. I put my homeroom students in red and I put my co-teacher students, the second section, in purple. Even though all my lessons are still written in black, having notes color coded helps me to keep up with, okay, is this what I'm teaching for my class versus my co-teacher's class? If you have students that are pulled out for IEP or any other type of intervention, then this section of the planner would be really good to write the names of what students are going out for that day, depending on how many students you have being pulled out. And then I turned this section into a Saturday and Sunday block because this teacher planner gives you Monday through Friday, But if you are doing work on the weekends, then you probably want a place to write ideas. So that's what I did for this section. Even if you don't teach elementary school, or whatever your teaching situation is, this is a possible way to set up the sidebar, is to turn it into a Saturday and Sunday. Okay, now let's pretend I'm a middle school teacher. I did not teach middle school. I actually taught summer school for 2 summers, and we did like this looping thing with summer school. So I taught 6th and 7th grade summer school English language arts. And so if I were teaching this all year long as a teacher, then I would break up my periods across the top, and I could possibly use this extra column, like if you have duty days. As a teacher, I've always had additional duty outside the classroom and needed to keep up with it. And this is just an example of how to use the list markers. So here I put purple X's for reading assignments. I put the orange asterisk for vocabulary. I put the dots, the turquoise dots, for all writing assignments. So if you are using those list markers, I did a video on those. If you're using those list markers, then that's one way to keep your lesson plans organized, by having like different symbols that go with different subjects or different assignments. Maybe I should have created a little small key for myself to show what is what, but you can decide for yourself how to set that up. And then I turned the sidebar into a prep work section this time. So for each period, whatever grading, copies, whatever prep work I need to do, that's what you could possibly write here. And again, just like with the others, if you are an elementary school teacher or high school teacher or intervention specialist or librarian, this is one way to set up your sidebar. This is another way. This is another way. So I hope that is starting to make sense. No matter what your teaching situation is, you could apply some of these ideas no matter what. Now that we've covered middle school, let's talk about high school. I've never taught high school. And the reason why is because I did my student teaching in 9th grade English language arts, 1 month. I knew. Actually, I knew the first week, yeah, this is not for me. I feel like you have to be called to teach high school. In fact, the very first day that I was student teaching, I was standing at the door to greet my students, and 2 of the students stood there in front of me, looked me up and down, and one of them said to the other, "Oh, I don't like her already." And I was just a college student, so I was like, yeah, teaching high school is not for me. If you are a high school teacher, as we say in the South, bless your heart. But you probably say the same for elementary school teachers or middle school teachers. Nevertheless, this is about how to use your teacher lesson planner. So for any teacher who you like all the stickers and all the things, you're one of those teachers who you probably just don't like a minimalist look. You want all the jazz. That's what I tried to keep in mind here. I turned this column into a morning prep. If you're a high school teacher, maybe you have that. I used way more stickers to showcase different things that you would need to keep track of, maybe. I also took, oh no, where is it? Oh, let me show you. I took the color blends stickers, and these come in more than just the color blends. No, this is Harmony, excuse me. This is Harmony Colorful. And they have this in neutral or whatever, okay? I took these stickers. You can use these as habit trackers, like if you're using them in a life planner or maybe a lesson planner. But for this, I turned it sideways to use as a list sticker to keep track of things. So if I had to make copies, then I could check off each time I make copies, which will help me stay organized. I also did the same thing here. Like if I need to grade several assignments, that sticker could work for that. And they also have different stickers like plan that you could use in your teacher planner. But these are just ideas for how to use the different stickers to keep track of things in your planner. And because, like, please forgive me, because I've never taught high school before, I'm making a guess based off of that 1 month of student teaching that I did, how I could set up my planner. So I would have 4 periods, and I would keep track of which period is testing, and I'm using the example of a language arts teacher. What type of assignments are we doing in the classroom? Maybe we're using clickers to warm up. Maybe we are using exit slips to review. Maybe I have my students working in groups. If you're a high school teacher and you use small group instruction or centers or partner work, let me know in the comments below. I mean, I love small groups as an elementary school teacher. What about high school teachers? Let me know. I hope this is clear. I just want to give you lots of ideas. And the final spread is if you are like an intervention teacher, a specialist. So let's say I'm a reading coach, and I don't mean to just use ELA, because this could be a math intervention specialist, a math coach. You have multiple grades that you work with. You probably work with kindergarten through 3rd, 1st through 4th, or maybe all the grades. Then for you, I would recommend color coding your lesson plans so that you can keep track of what you need to do for which grade level. So I used the sidebar this time to create a key. And these stickers come from, let me pause. Let me show you where these stickers come from. These stickers come from the Cool for School. And this was one of the previous Cool for School sticker books. I'll link it in the description box below. I have also seen these stickers in some of Erin Condren's other sticker sets. I did a previous video on all of them, and I always take the stickers out of the books and put them in these albums to stay organized. But I love using those stickers for color coding and keeping things organized in my planner so that when I come over to write my lesson plans, I know that blue is 1st grade. And to make it even more clear, I use blue. Even though I like using black ink, as you noticed, I use black ink for all of my plans. If I teach multiple grades, I would probably color code the ink as well. That way I can easily see and keep track of what grade levels I'm working with on what day and what skill. So if I'm an intervention specialist teaching different skills for reading or ELA, then I would have those skills across the top. If I'm math, then I'm going to have different math skills. And that's how I'm going to keep track of what grade levels I'm working with so that in my planner everything is clear. And just for the sake of demonstration, if you have testing set up for all of your grades, or if there's no school, obviously, then you can just do a sticker and have black markers that go across to show, okay, we're clear. I don't have to write lesson plans for those days. Now, let's talk about this sticker, this long sticker right here that I'm using as a divider. If you've ever gotten the Erin Condren 8.5 by 11 teacher lesson planners, they come with sticker sheets in the back, which is wonderful. I was really sad that this year's 7 by 9 Focus teacher lesson planner did not come with any stickers in the back. But if you've ever wondered, how in the world can I use these long stickers here? Yes, they can be cut in half to use on your monthly spread or whatever, but my favorite way to use these long stickers is as like to create a border instead of using a marker. So in your teacher lesson planner, I'll go back here. I created an afternoon prep column. I created a duty days column. But if you really want to make it super clear that you're setting off a different column, you could use one of those long stickers, and that'll make it extra clear, like, okay, this column is for extra stuff. You can write whatever extra things you want, personal, doctor's appointments, or birthdays, student birthdays, coworker birthdays, whatever. That would make it clear that this is set apart. And what I really like about these stickers from the teacher planner is that for the 7x9 planner, as you can see, they fit perfectly. I did not cut this down to size. I just took that one sticker, boom, bada bing. So I hope these spreads gave you some ideas on how to set up your lesson plan pages. I'm coming back for another video to talk about ways to use the notes pages as a teacher. It's like, I love using the notes pages for novel discussions, guided reading, guided math groups. And I'm going to have some more set up, different ways to use the other parts of your teacher lesson planner. If there's anything I said that wasn't clear, let me know. If there's any other section of the teacher lesson planner that you're curious about, like, well, Tanya, how do you use this section in your planner? What about that? What about that? Let me know those questions in the comments as well, because I'm also going to talk about how to set up and use the record keeping section as well. Thank you for hanging out with me, lovelies, and I hope that you got some good golden nuggets and tidbits out of this video. I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.